Ms. Bodia.
Present.
Yes, okay. Shall we start? And as moderator?
Certainly, let's do a roll call vote.
Okay.
Let's wait for the moderator to start recording. One moment, please.
Sure.
This is the moderator. I kept the recording going since there was a short break.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, so David, let's
I'm
start.
ready.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call the roll. Just let us know if you're here after you unmute. Dr. Mateki,
Yes, present.
Kidman Chan,
Yes.
Yongfeng Chen,
Present.
John Haravedian.
Here.
Thank you. Francisco Kim.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Shudong Lee. Shudong Lee.
Present. Have a
Thank you.
trouble with unmuted.
That's okay. Ruben Osorio.
I'm here.
Thank you. I show all 7 board members present. Madam Chairwoman, we can proceed with the meeting.
Thank you, David. Okay, Christine, let's move to the next video. Thank you.
Thank you. On to AB 918. This is legislation specific to acupuncture concerning the licensing exam. It was introduced by Cork Silva. The current status is on February 25th, the bill was referred to Assembly Committee on Business and Professions. Existing law requires the exam for acupuncture license to be administered by the board and developed by the Office of Professional Examination Services of DCA. This bill would instead require applicants to obtain a passing score on one or more examinations administered by the National Certification Commission for Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, as determined by the board based on the skills, standards, and knowledge required for licensure pursuant to the Act. At this time, staff is recommending an opposed position, and we will get into the concerns. The board's mandate is to protect the public. The California Acupuncture Licensing Exam, or CALE, is one of the final safeguards before licensure that the board has in place to protect the public by ensuring applicants meet entry-level competencies to be licensed as an acupuncturist. The board ensures that the examination addresses this charge by conducting an occupational analysis, or OA, of the California acupuncture profession every 5 years. To change the licensing exam used by the board will require that the safeguard is in place by reviewing the content of any examination it is seeking to use and comparing it to the CALE. This process requires the board to conduct third-party audits of the examination that is being considered. For an informed and accountable decision to be made, an accurate comparison requires that the most recent OA be used for comparison. The board has started its 2020 OA and anticipates its completion by the summer of 2021. The NCCOM also conducts its own occupational analysis known as the Job Analysis Survey, or JAS. Historically, the JAS was conducted every 7 to 10 years. More recently, the NCCOM has moved to conducted its JAS every 5 to 7 years with the next JAS set to begin in 2022 and expected to be completed by 2023. Once NCCOM's JAS is completed, the board will be able to have a third-party audit of the most current information. It is critical that the board conduct its audit on the most recent OAs and JAS to ensure an informed decision is made. The board's last third-party audit was conducted in 2016. The 2016 audit identified the following findings. 1, the NCCOM examinations are congruent with assessing many of the general areas of entry-level California acupuncture practice. For example, acupuncture treatment, herbal therapy, diagnostic impressions, etc. 2, the NCCOM examinations do not assess 100% of the general areas of entry-level California acupuncture practice identified in the 2015 acupuncture OA, which are part of the California Acupuncture Test Plan. 3, the NCCOM examinations do not assess California-specific areas of entry-level acupuncture practice, including content related to the laws, regulations, and practice requirements specific to California. Additionally, the audit raised concern that only a small sample of the NCCOM test questions were provided to the auditing team, and this was not an accurate representation of the complete exam. This affirms the board's need to conduct a new third-party audit of the most recent OA and JAZ. This audit will need to await the completion of the 2022-2023 JAZ. The board's licensed stakeholders are divided on the issue, receiving strong positions on both sides at both the 2016 and 2018 sunset hearings, as well as the 2016 board meetings where the audit findings were discussed. AB 918, as introduced, does not have an implementation date identified in the bill. As such, this requirement would go into effect on January 1st, 2022. This language also does not account for a requirement to develop a California supplemental examination to address the areas identified in the 2016 audit findings that do not cover the content that the CAIL does, including California laws and regulations, and California specific scope and practices. As discussed above, a third-party audit of the most current OA and the JAZ will be required for the board to make an informed decision, which will not be possible until 2024. If a decision is made at that time, an implementation timeline would also need to be accounted for. In consideration of this, as well as the wide disagreement within the profession, staff recommends that the board oppose this legislation to ensure that public protection is paramount throughout the possible transition. We do have some recommended motion language, and if the board has any questions or discussion, comments, please do so now.
Thank you, Christine. So, yeah, is anything? Yeah. So let me just thank you, Christine, for you and your staff went in depth to discuss this bill. I'm sure Vice President Chen probably will speak also, but I'm just state myself. Kim, are you okay? Or you want to start? Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just kind of like, I wanted to give everyone a time and would like to take a little bit of discussion on this bill because since I joined the board, I don't believe we had a chance to really open up to all the board members. So this will be a good time for everyone to get information, history, and also we would like to work with the stakeholders, public members, on this issue. So I just open up here and then let's Kim, I believe you are one of the most senior veterans for the board, and you maybe can give us some history and go ahead, please.
Yes. Okay. I think it started year 2016, and that's the time the national exam is introduced to the board, and that time the board member and I believe the Ben is the staff doing the analyze, compare the California and the national exam requirement. And California, we had the highest education requirement for the applicant to taking the exam as for at least 3,000 hours. And the national exam is only, if I remember correctly, is around 2,000 to 2,500 hours, okay? And which is lower than California. Now, the acupuncture board, the first priority is to protect the public. And if the applicant for the examination, the standard is lower than the California standard. So it looks like the board impair the protection of the public. The secondable is the analyze show as the cost for the applicant to taking the examination. And national examination is about close to 2,500 or something like that, okay? And the California examination is about 600 to 700, okay? So it's a big financial burden for the applicant. And the third is that the standard examination did not including the California law and regulation, and which is that the applicant, even though they passed the national examination from other state, and they don't know anything about the acupuncture board regulation and also California law. So it's also as another protection public impaired. Okay, so we discussed and I think a few board meeting, and we had come up the issue to ask the national examiner ask the national examination, how do they make the standard as a match with the California standard? And so far I did not see any yet, unless Ben, you want to add on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chen. No, I think you're good there. Just one clarification, being that our fees increased this year, the cost of the kale is now $800. And that is all I have to add. Thank you.
And that's why the California, and that time we opposed on the national examination. That's why I agree with the staff recommendation to post this national examination, because the standard is a lower California the standard, which is not the priority to protect public safety. So that's
Thank
my
you.
comment.
Yeah, thank you, Member Chen, and thank you, Mr. Bodier. Any other board member would like to discuss and have a comments? Yes, Member Kim, please.
Yes, yeah, I've been seeing this license exam legislature since 2016, and there's some divide between this profession. But now I see the essence of this problem, this issue. I think it's because there's no standard in this, set in this profession. Maybe that's why someone just come up with some, they call it themselves as a national, but I don't think NCCAOM has been recognized as a national board by governmental agency. NCCAOM is a private non-government agency, and especially last year, the Medicare didn't recognize the national board. Now I see the context of it, and then I watched some of the CISOMA's town hall meeting, what they're saying about this bill. I think it's they want to expand their job market. to see some VA hospital, which is a federal program. So the federal program has to be a NCCOM. Well, I don't think that's legally, correct, because as you see, the California has been having state-specific educational standard and examination based on the occupational analysis, and we had all this autonomy, and then all of a sudden they say this is a national and you have to accept it, and so that we can expand it, the job market. But I checked with those who work in the VA system, and what they are looking for is the veterans or anyone who's a staff of the hospital, and then someone who has some background in the medical field. So this is nothing to do with the national exam. So I am also very concerned that did the member assembly member Kirk Silva contacted and consulted this board about this before she made this? I'm just very confused about this bill by surprise. And of course, all other licenses are also very confused.
Thank
That's
you,
all.
Member Kim. And I see our EO, Mr. Baudier, your hands raised. Thank you. Did you want to make a comment? Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, to answer Member Kim's question, no, we had not heard from Assemblywoman Quirk Silva's office until after the bill was introduced, upon which I reached out to offer my services and make myself available to answer any questions. And
Thanks.
I've been communicating with her, one of her legislative coordinators since then, just to address any questions, but we were not approached beforehand.
Thank you, Mr. Baudier. And I see Member Lee, Dr. Lee, your hands raised, please.
Yes,
Okay.
this is Shudong Lee, and thank you for our Vice President Kevin Chen to explain the background about this bill. And for my point of view is, as keep our board members, first priority is keep our community safe, and the other ones is keep our high standards California education and the quality of the acupuncturists. So that's my comments on this, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Any other board member like to make a comment? Member Vice President Chen?
Yeah, I like to make a motion actually.
Let's see if other board member would like to discuss it. Yes, Dr. Lee, you wanted, yeah, okay. Let's see if any other board member would like to discuss this. No? So I really appreciate the staff has been working on this issues or this questions that was brought up in the past. Okay, Dr. Chen, did you have? Okay.
So
Yes.
Madam Mataki, sorry, earlier I just hit the key wrong, so my screen disappeared, so I couldn't raise my hand on time. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. floor is yours.
Okay, so I really like the board staff's recommendation language. It's very clear. And second, I echo all the board members. They did the research, especially Mr. Kidman Chen. He has been served the board for so many years. And he is a good role model of me. And also I'm in his leadership of the licensing and examination committee. So I do appreciate his complete analysis and the history background introduction. So I have one more point is when I was appointed to the board and I actually did some study of the Sunset Review, 2018 Sunset Review. And I saw the Sunset Review actually have a lot of points to analyze the pros and the cons of two examination. We can call NCCOM, but I also agree the member team for us not appropriate to call it a board, national board certification. It is different from like a medical board. That's national because California has not joined, and California has 18, more than 18, close to 19,000 of the license number, and the actively practice licensee have more than 12,000. So the number of total in the country, usually as we understand, is about 40. So California is almost 50%. So look at the people hold California license. They mostly practice in California. So some are, if they are active, they are all practice in California. Some licensee, they hold the license but not active, they may move to other state. But all the licensee, their license is active, they practice in California. So we look the NCCOM certificate holder, who are, what's the consistent? I mean, who are they? Are the members? Mostly from the other states of the United States. Some are from California. Some they have dual two certificate exam. So this part of the both examination taker, they actually is overlap. So the NCCOM's number maybe it's overlapped with California KO examination holder, certificate or license holder. And 3, NCCM's certificate also give anywhere from this earth, so all of the world. Any country, if they want to take this exam, NCCOM will give them exam without qualification check, like the California Acupuncture Board does. We are very serious to check the qualification for the examination, but NCCOM does not do that. And it shows problem, like Dr. Kim mentioned, in the Medicare, Medicare just start to pay low back pain with acupuncture, and this is controversial of NCCOM board certificate with Medicare and ACOM accredited school requirement. So this requirement actually between ACOM and NCCOM, actually these two organization has controversial because Medicare require ACOM accredited school graduates practitioner as a qualification to be accepted as a provider work for the Medicare patient, while NCCOM allow people from other country also hold the certificate. If people from other country, they want to come to US to practice. So that could be a problem. So this so-called NCCOM board, National Board Certificate, I think the name for how to understand the name, I think there's a dispute. So the second point is the Sunset Review background paper and the CAB's answer very clearly point at one thing. So I read the language read like this. Sunset Review background paper about regulatory capture. It says it is unclear. It's here. It says while the NCCOM must renew NCC accreditation every 5 years and can negotiate with the legislature and the state agencies. The legislature has no formal control over most aspects of the legislature and of the NCCOM examination. It is unclear whether it is feasible to limit the amount of NCCOM can charge for the examination in statute. Further, the legislature would have no direct control if the NCCOM decided to increase its educational requirements beyond what is required in statute. So my understanding is California legislature has no control to oversee NCCOM's decision about the cost of the examination, which is already a couple of times higher than California, and about the quality of the examination, and about the education requirement increase or decrease. So that cause a big mess for the CAB to do the implement of the California Acupuncture Act. So I'd like to know if CAB has any authority if NCCOM came to California. That's my question to EO Mr. Badia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chen.
Apologies, Dr. Chen. This is Ben Bodia. Could you repeat your question to me? I missed that last part.
So I read the paper says the legislature has no formal control over most aspects of the legislature and of the NCCOM exam. It's unclear whether it is feasible to limit the amount of NCCOM and change the examination in statute. So even the legislature, California legislature has no, it's not clear or looks like a possible, cannot have the oversight to NCCOM. Will Acupuncture Board has any authority or ability to oversee this, the NCCOM, if they come in some year or sometime later?
Thank you for saying that again, Dr. Chen. Yes, the board and the legislature would have very little effect on being able to influence the cost of the NCCOM. That is that organization's product, and we really can't touch it. And in terms of the board oversight, the board would need to continue doing occupational analyses every 5 years to keep abreast of all the changes in practice here in California, and to also continue reassessing the NCCAOM to ensure that it is meeting at least, so that the board can at least develop the appropriate supplemental exam. So the board would be required to develop a California supplemental to be able to protect the public here in California, and it would have to test on all the items that the NCCAOM does not test. And the board would have to use all 3 modules of the NCCAOM, which was priced at exceeding $1,800, and additional costs for language translations in Chinese and Korean. At least that was the case a couple years ago. But yes, the oversight would not be the same as it is now with the CAIL, because the CAIL is a product of California's government, both the board and the Office of Professional Examination Services.
Thank you, Mr. Bodia. So Dr. Chen, you wanted to add? I see your hands raised.
Yeah, I just have last comments. This is a big issue for California acupuncture profession to how to make decision, make an informed and accountable decision to protect the public through the licensing, through the examination. It's a very, very important issue. We need to be very careful, analyze the pros and the cons. We don't make any decision emotionally. We need to make decision rationally. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Any other board member would like to make a comment? So I just wanted to mention, I wanted to make a comment and appreciate Dr. Chen and Mr. Bodia for your insight, and also staff for your work, bring the detailed information up to the speed. Also, I just look back. I remember with the OPES, which is Occupational Analysis, has stated the 2 exams, the NCCOAM exam and California Acupuncture License exam, is not the same. So if it's really for public protections, the board have to develop a supplemental exam. And currently, as Mr. Bodia has mentioned, and the cost. And I believe, I don't even know we have any data or information, what is the cost to develop the supplemental exam, and also to administer this supplemental exam, what the cost will be, and how much the board have to pay out. Is this in the board budget? If it's not, this is going to be an issue early. We on the budget, the board is already have the problem. If this is going to be the extra burden or cost for the board. So looks like switch to the NCCOM exam would not reduce the cost for the California students or for the California, the board. And also, I think members has mentioned about NCCOM. It is a nonprofit organization. So the board and the legislature have no formal control over the most aspect of the examination, the NCCOM examination. There's no control over the exam format, all the cost of the NCCOM exam. Sounds like their price is already 2 or 3 times higher than California exam. And also, if they delete some parts or edit later, so where is the guideline, or where is the future protection for the public will be intake. And also, I'm just see this currently the California exam is already online, has been offered many locations, very convenient, year-long, around for the applicant can take the exam, even go through the COVID time. So I'm just to see right now what the reason we needed to change what is working. We have issued over 18,000 licenses or more, and currently active over 12,000 licensees in California. So I, support for the board board staff recommendation. So I just wanted to make some comment, and I know I see Jay and Mr. Bodia. So go ahead, Jay, please, Mr. Hurt.
Yeah, I just had a really small point of clarification about the current way the CALE is offered. It is offered on computers at PSI test centers within their networks. It's not available online. Nobody can get to it online. It's very securely held by them, and it's like a bank vault there. So it's computer-based, but it's not online. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Mr. Bodia, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Just wanted to also bring it to the board's attention that this bill was sponsored by the California State Oriental Medical Association, otherwise known as CSOMA, and they do have their president and a board member, it looks like, in our attendee list as well, so I imagine we will be hearing from them. Additionally, I'm hearing that, especially as Member Kim pointed out, that this is there is no national standard, and that this exam is being used in effect to create a national standard. And this is not normally the way the standard is made, in terms of there is a not-for-profit third party that is creating a standard that is not actually a professional association that exists at the national level. So the California exam was instituted early on because California started regulating acupuncture. It wasn't the first, but was one of the first. And as Dr. Mateki noted, like, the exam has been working for some time. And in that time, a number of other states have started regulating acupuncture. And they did not take the same route that California did, which is to invest in creating their own exam. But they found that there was a product on the market offered by the NCCAOM that did test on some of those competencies. If not all that is within that state's regulatory items. We do have a most recent audit from 2016 that shows that it covers most of the competencies, but not all, especially the California specific items. So I just wanted to get that out there. It's critical to note that there is no national standard, and that national standard should be set by the profession in working with government, and not set by agencies outside of the profession. And I do see that, again, that CSOMA is sponsoring this bill, but we have received stakeholder letters after the production of these materials, so they weren't included in our board meeting packet, that shows a number of other associations opposed to it, which is consistent to what was happening back in 2016 when Member Chan was present and hearing the petitions from our stakeholders at the time as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodia. So any other board member have a comments or questions?
I have a comment.
Yes, Member King.
As I recall, I think the Medicare in federal level, the CMS is trying to coverage to start the coverage on acupuncture, but they say they don't have enough information to set as an acupuncturist as a Medicare provider, which means we are talking about the qualification to become. If we say we want to expand the market, job market, then you have to upgrade your standard, not downgrade the standard. And I see, you know, some people just saying, oh, we want to see more VA. That's just too short-sighted opinion, I think. But let's I suggest let's hear anyone from the CSOMA, you know, what they're saying, and then we can continue about this discussion.
Thank you, Member Kim. I see Mr. Bodia, your hands is raised. Did you have a comment? No?
Apologies, no, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. So now let's just see if the board members, there is no more comments or questions. I just like to know the procedure. Is it like, should we move forward with a motion and then we'll open up to the public? So legal you is, would that be okay if we do that?
If we do go to public comment before we make a motion, then we'd have to have public comment again after the motion is made. We could, if you are willing, do that way. It just might yield a lot more comments. And just a reminder to all our public stakeholders, we are limiting it to 1 comment per person per item. Thank you.
Yes. So, oh, go ahead, Rico. Fred.
You mean, this is Kim Chen. I'd like to make a motion. Okay. The motion is acupuncture board take the opposite position on AB 918 as introduced on February 17, 2021 for the reason discussed by member and staff as a reflected in the staff memo.
I second, I'm Yongping Chen.
So we have the motion moved by Vice President Chen and second by Dr. Chen, Yongping Chen. So let's move to open up to the public. So moderator, would you please assistant? And also, I just want to make a comment on the public. I know if there are public stakeholders have physical illness, would need a little bit of time, so we will extend it to 5 minutes. But for the rest of the members, would it be appreciated limited to your comment to 3 minutes? Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. I do see we have a couple individuals who requested public comment. Before I get to them, let me just quickly explain the instructions once more. The Q&A feature is open for public comment. If you would like to make a comment, please click that Q&A icon at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen, and we'll go in the order that comments are received, so please wait while we get through everyone. Our first individual who has requested public comment Individual identified as Nell, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So, hi, I'm Dr. Nelson Messina. I'm currently humbled to serve as the president of CSOMA. Just wanted to clarify a few things. I was a little concerned by some of the confusion and misinformation about this bill. While I absolutely respect the board's decision to need a proper timeline and things like this, this is something that the California Acupuncture Board asked for. This is the legislative vehicle to bring NCCOM to California, which was requested back in 2016. So that's simply all that we were trying to do with this. With this bill, CAB still maintains control over licensure. So this in no way has the ability to lower standards. The licensing process is still the licensing process. It's just the exam that would change. So the hours do not change. The rigor of education in California doesn't change. Trust, I am a practitioner who came to California to be educated here because I believe in our education standards. So it would absolutely not be the intention of CSOMA or the author to degrade those qualifications in any way. Also want to be clear that it would be pretty atypical for an assembly person to contact a regulatory body about a bill before it being introduced. I think this is just part of the legislative process, that conversations sometimes happen after a bill is introduced, and CSOMA did contact the board directly to discuss how we could collaborate and work together. There's still time for amendments. We were very open to collaborating with the board and other stakeholders. We've been very transparent about our advocacy agenda since back in the fall. And this is something that CSOMA's been in support of publicly since 2012. Lastly, I just want to address something about the comment that was made about the Veterans Health Administration. I have a quote here directly from the VHA acupuncture qualification standard. Licensed acupuncturists hired by the VHA must have a master's or doctoral level degree in acupuncture or oriental medicine from a school accredited by ACOM. They must have current certification by NCCOM and maintain licensure in a U.S. state or territory. So although that's only one federal agency, certainly things could continue to trend in that direction. And also the comment about public
30
safety.
seconds.
We could argue that, this would allow the board to have more time to focus on public safety, not having the burden of this exam, but still maintaining all of the qualifications in California that we all really care about. NCCOM tests a bit more on herbs. Herbs are the biggest risk to public safety, I believe, in our profession, which is tested very little on the CALE. So this could typically, enhance public safety, and the board would remain all of the control that they have. So thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. Just wanted to clear some of that up.
All right, this is a moderator. We'll move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Individual identified as Hong Mei. All right, Hong Mei, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. And may I also ask that you lower your hand? I'll be unmuting your microphone now.
Good afternoon, board members. I would like to speak on the behalf of California Acupuncture United Association regarding the legislative bill AB 918. We are opposed to this AB 918 for the following reasons, some of which the board members have brought up during the discussion earlier. Firstly, AB 918 will lead to the weakening and diminution of the Acupuncture Association. NCCAOM claims its certificates are national certificates, which is just plainly misleading. There is not now, nor has there ever been, a national standard in acupuncture education and training currently. Some states only require 2,000 to 2,500 hours of study and training, and some states even require lower standards, while California has the highest training requirements in the nation, with 3,000 to 3,500 hours. Moreover, our own licensing exam CALE has been the standard in California for over 30 years. Secondly, maintaining CALE ensures that Californians enjoy the highest quality of professional acupuncture services. We'd also like, if anything, to increase the number of courses that acupuncturists are required to take rather than lower them. Given the training standards that vary so widely across the states, which licensed acupuncturists, it is nonsensical to presume that a single national exam can account for training differences. Thirdly, AB 918 will hand over a monopoly to the National Acupuncture Exam. It is unwise to grant the power of creating and delivering a national acupuncture licensing examination for California to a single entity outside of California. Fourthly, AB 918 ignores the fact stated in the, quote, review of the NCC AOM examinations, unquote, completed by OPES in 2016, which did not recommend replacing CALE with the NCC AOM exam. The CALE has been implemented for over 20 years now, and the CALE meets all California acupuncture laws and regulations. And lastly, AB 918 will increase the cost of applicants if they are forced to take the NCC AOM exams as well. Currently, the NCC AOM requires 4 exams for its corresponding Oriental medicine. Sorry?
30 seconds.
Okay. Medicine certification. The CALE requires only 1 exam for licensed acupuncturists. Applicants are required to pay about 4 times the fee for the NCC AOM, increasing from $800 to about $3,000, plainly hurts the interest of its applicants. Thank you for your time and attention on this issue, and as well as your support to our work in relieving people of their distress of illness. Thank you for your time.
All right, this is the moderator. We will move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. And as a reminder to those members of the public, we are going in order of comments received, so please wait. Our next individual is identified as Jim. Jim, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Great. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and thank you, Ms. Moderator, for your strong comeback from your left-right issue earlier today. So good job. I heard a lot of conversation today regarding consumer safety about testing, and I thank you for that. It's very commendable. I am a consumer of acupuncture for over 15 years for chronic lower back pain. I have what you would call a love-hate relationship with acupuncture. I love the pain-free after acupuncture, but I hate the needles. So my specific concern for AB 4918, the licensing examination, is in item number 3, which everybody has seen. It's red and it's all crossed out and it's been replaced by the blue, which if you look at the red, it's very strong and it's very concise. If you look at the blue, well, it's just not very strong, in my opinion. I tried reaching out to Assemblywoman Sharon Silva to get some background information regarding her bill that she authored, but was denied access to her because I was not in her district. And it seems, I wish I was paying attention when the gentleman was reading all the statistics, but my last calculation was that, or investigation, is that there's about 18,000 registered California acupuncturists and about 40,000 registered nationally for everybody else. So logic dictates that there is not really a crisis or a shortage of practitioners. If there is no shortage, what is the driving force for this particular amendment to the current language, which seems very strong and very applicable? Hopefully, it's not a monetary driven item. The amendment appears to lower the exam standards and to take licensing from the state, which this board has shown a great deal of care and concern and integrity about. And my last consideration is California has always had a higher level of standards than other states, specifically in the area of education, in engineering, in law than other states. And it would be very difficult to go back to a previous higher standards if this particular bill was passed. So I support the California State Acupuncture Board 100%.
All right, this is a moderator. We'll move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Individual identified as David. David, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Hello, moderator. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. This is David Quackenbush from CSOMA. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the dialogue. And the staff, Ben and Christine and all the staff have done a great analysis of the bill. I want to piggyback on what Nell said, the president of the CSOMA, where we really want to share the intent because there's misinformation and confusion on what the actual bill does. The intent of the bill is just to replace the CALE with the national exam, which is the exam used by 47 states in the nation. And we have already started conversations about potentially allowing the CALE or the national exam being a choice for students that are graduating. And again, as Nell said, the impetus from this bill is from the Acupuncture's board letter to the Assembly Committee in 2016 asking to move forward with that. And we are committed to helping to move forward with that. This bill is for the next generation of acupuncturists. It only applies to graduating acupuncturists, and it would allow the prospective acupuncturist to prepare for and take just one exam to save money and time and begin the process to become nationally certified. Currently, 30 to 40% of new licensees take the national exam, which we see as being duplicative. And there should be only a need to take the one exam with the California supplement as we appreciate. This bill also might relieve some of the workload and cost that the CAB currently undergoes, or the CAB staff currently undergoes administering the CALE. It only applies to graduating students, and based on our conversations with the author and with the acupuncture board staff, we are proposing that the exam would not be in place any sooner than 2023, based on the current workload and based on the concerns that have been shared. And we are, as Ben knows, because we have met with Ben and his staff, we are more than open to having a conversation about potentially moving back that date. The bill also does not change the standards, educations, trainings, or requirements to qualify to sit for the exam. As Ben can tell you, the hours and standards that are part of state law are in law, and this bill does not affect any of that. I would just close with, we appreciate the opportunity and we welcome an ongoing conversation with the staff and the board, and would welcome any amendments to bring more clarity to the board based on the board's concerns. Thanks.
All right, this is the moderator. We'll move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Let me go down my list. Our next individual is Mary Schultz. And just as a quick reminder, we will not be responding to raised hands. If you do wish to make a public comment, please click that Q&A icon at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen and type "I would like to make a comment" and send to all panelists. So Mary, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Thank you, California Acupuncture Board and the moderator, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Mary Schultz. I'm a California licensed acupuncturist, and I also have the DAM degree. I am a CEU provider with American Acupuncture and Integrative Medicine Institute, and we are not in favor of the NCCOM being understood as any national exam. It is not a national exam. There are 47 states that have been cooperating with the NCCOM, but those 47 states are not equal in their acceptance of the NCCOM exam. Some of them require the exams, which are 4 separate exams, and some of them require certification from NCCOM. And there is some huge problems with that situation just as it is. And I don't know that most people understand how that really is. But if you, for instance, want to leave California as a licensed acupuncturist and you want to go to the state of Montana, you must sit for the 4 exams and pay an application fee to the NCCOM to be able to do that if you're licensed in California. So there is a huge difference in terms of the fees as well. Our California licensing exam is $550. In order to pass, actually, in order to be admitted to take the exam for NCCOM, you have to pay a non-refundable $550 application fee, and then you must pay $300 for each exam times 4, which is a total of $1,750. The NCCOM does not represent a national standard. There hasn't been one that's set. And I am in favor of a national standard. And what I'm also interested in too is to have the California exam, which represents a high standard and high quality for safety and licensure, to be compared to the NCCOM exam. And if it either equals or supersedes the NCCOM exam, be set aside as an example for the current licensees to be able to, number one, be certified nationally and or by NCCOM without having to pay additional monies, which they're also trying to charge, which is
30 seconds.
$750. And so I just would like the clarification to be in the record that the certificate is what you get for the $750. You do not get the exam. So if you wanted to, for example, go to Montana, you would still have to take the exams if the state does not honor the certificate, which Montana doesn't. And I do believe there are 14 other states that do not honor the certificate. So this is a money-making thing, and it needs to really be clarified about what is being offered. But I still stand by my thing, which is that we are looking for a national standard, which all states might want to cooperate on, so that we can be like the MDs and the nurses and the other medical professionals, which will still have state licensure. But
All right, this is the moderator. I have muted the individual as we have gone over time. And we will move on to our next individual's requested public comment. Individual identified as Victoria. Victoria, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Thank you. Hello, this is Victoria Tuan. As a member of the American Society of Chinese Medicine, I found good things with CALE, Cali or CAL examination, such as setting up the California Education Examination Standards by improving testing items and examination environment, and also protecting the consumers. So I oppose the Assembly Bill 918 for unclear NCCAOM examination information. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
All right, this is the moderator, and we will move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Individual identified as Steve, you will be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Is that me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes. My name is Steve Liu. On behalf of CAVA, California United Acupuncturist Association. I'm chair. So regard this bill 918, all our members is very worried about this bill is going on. It is all because California licensure is being practiced more than 50 years. Like personally, I started to practice since 1985. I'm witnessing acupuncture societies growing and the need of our community. So our concern is the quality of acupuncturist service and public safety. And I highly respect the board member just or the speak of your concern, which is we pretty much agree with you. So my conclude is we will oppose this bill 918, and that's all I like to express. Thank you, board and everyone.
All right, this is the moderator, and we will move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Individual identified as Philip. Philip, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Thank you. This is Philip Young, representing the AACMA. We oppose this bill, AB 918. First, AB 918 will lead to the weakening and diminution of the acupuncture profession. NCCLM claims the certificates, as someone mentioned, this national certificates, which is just plainly misleading. This is not now nor here. There ever has been national standard in acupuncture education and training currently. Some states requires like 2,000, some 2,500 hours, but California is 3,000 hours is the minimum. So the different standard. And the second is maintaining the CAO ensures that California enjoy the highest quality of profession acupuncture services. Given the training of standards very so widely across the states, which licensed acupuncturists is nonsensical to presume that a single national exam can account the training differences. To that contrary, national exam, unfortunately and inevitably, must lower its standard to account for the variability across the multiple states licensing requirements. To us, the education with the higher standards, for example, California, to line up with the lower standards directly undermines the integrity of the acupuncture profession in California. Third is AB 9118 will hand over to the monopoly to national acupuncture exam. That it is unwise to grant them power of operating and delivering a national acupuncture license examination for California to single entity outside of the California. The acupuncture profession in California is the largest in the nation in terms of the licensing and consumers. There's no different defensible reasons to create a monopoly of income. Fourth is it ignores the facts that the 2016 California professional survey that is non-suggest NCCLM to be the license exam. The fifth is the AB 918 increase the cost, as many people mentioned. Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. We will move on to our next individual as requested public comment. Individual identified as Rong Yuan. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Thank you. You pronounce it correct.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm Rong Yuan Zhao, come from ACCHS. I'm an acupuncturist in California for 15 years. So acupuncture in California is lucky. The California people wanted to treat by acupuncture. They are lucky too. Because of that, we have a very good California acupuncture board. Because California board is for California people and for California acupuncturist licensure. Why? Because we have a higher standard for the acupuncturist. and for lower value for the acupuncture examination. So I oppose Bill AB 918. So I don't understand why and what is ACCA AOM for, because they have a very lower standard and a higher fees for the examination. So I really don't understand why. Thank you. Thank you, the acupuncture board. The meeting gave me the chance to express my opinion. Thank you all.
All right, this is the moderator. We'll move on to our last individual who has requested public comment. Individual identified as Christy. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Great, thank you. My name is Christy. I am part of the CSOMA board. I've been a member for many years. I just want to clarify a few things. People keep bringing up the price. I actually hold the NCCOM. I took both tests when I graduated in 2003. I hold both, and what happens is yes, the front loading of the prices are more expensive for the NCCOM versus the Cal, but every 2 years, if the prices have just gone up to $500 for California, that's every 2 years, that's $1,000. Whereas every national is every 4 years. And I just looked up the recertification and it's only $440. So as someone holding both tests or both certifications, it cost me $1,440 every 4 years. So if the national were to take over, it would only be $440. And yes, exam fees might come up, but we're not going to look and see them going up to $1,440 in a matter of a few years. So that's something I just wanted to clarify on price. I do want to clarify, people keep bringing up that the hours are like the standards are going to change. The standards do not change at all with this changeover. You know, our hours will stay the same. The requirements from the schools will stay the same. None of that changes. So that does not let, I think the scary thing for people is like letting other, you know, states come in and take and just become part of California. They will not. They'll still have to be set, still have to follow all the set standards. And then last, I would say, excuse me, last I would say is that if my understanding, and correct me, I could be wrong, the Sunset Review in 2016 actually said that the tests were equal. And if you talk to graduates at this point now, and I've talked to a few this year, they actually are saying the NCCOM is completely harder than the Cal these days. So I think things have changed since I took the test in 2003, because things have definitely shifted for both of those tests. And I think we just have to be aware, like 4 years ago, I'm part of the National Association, the ASA. I was in a meeting with one of the head of the veterans, and he said, we don't know how to hire you guys because you don't have a set standard.
30 seconds.
And when he's sitting there and he's saying, you need to get this national exam as a set standard so we can hire you in each and every state. And if you don't, we'll start hiring chiropractors that can do acupuncture, PTs that can do acupuncture. And this is not what we want to see for our profession. We want to see acupuncturists getting that job. And that's the reason why this is getting brought forward. It's so we can expand more jobs for acupuncturists in the medical system. Thank you.
All right, and we will move on to our next individual's requested public comment. Neil, one moment while I change my timer. You'll be given 5 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
My name is Neil Miller, representing CalAtma. Because of CalAtma's multicultural diversity, we've been contacted by almost all Chinese and Korean associations who requested to have a strong voice today. No joke, that's me. To unite the profession of professional associations against AB 918. there are many reasons to oppose AB 918. Some are factual. Some you heard are speculative, and I've seen others that address cultural appropriateness and feelings. But today, CalAtma will simply summarize and deal with simple facts. No offense to Mr. Kipman, but this process started before 2016. I've been participating in this discussion for 30 years, you know, and since the Little Hoover Commission. Also, no disrespect, but the highest standard in America is Nevada. Nevada has now 5,000 hours, and 5,000 hours is implemented by NCCOM. So many of the arguments today are not true. CalAtma and all the groups we are representing today are opposed to this, but Nevada has also only one exam from NCCOM, not four. So I just wanted to be factual. This is not NCCOM bill. This is a CSOMA bill, and NCCOM was surprised when I myself called them and told them about the bill. They were also not included. So NCCOM is not bad. They are really good for many other states that set their standard. California's standard was set by us at 3,800 hours, and the Acupuncture Board agreed to this. This was through hearings that we had. Only through political compromise are we 3,000 hours. So the truth is that to set our standard, it should have been 3,800 hours. The fact, this bill is premature before the occupational analysis in California and our sunset review the following year, and next year is NCCOM. So it's not reasonable to have this bill now. A fact is that CalAtma was in open, transparent discussions about our exam and NCCOM and the two occupational analysis reviews. I ran for CalAtma president as this discussion part of my platform to have consensus, open discussion, not trying to ram this bill through with a bunch of false things. The fact that I recommended to CSOMA and NCCOM to seek consensus to build an appropriate bill using language that protected the consumers and addressed all of the stakeholders' concerns. But the former lobbyist and now lobbyist for CSOMA strategy was racist and anti-Asian in that he wanted to get the bill before consulting with the acupuncture and Asian community here. That is a fact that I will swear to. No, there was minimal input or to no input from all the Asian ESL professional associations, Asian language schools, Chinese Korean schools, and the Japanese programs prior to this bill. I have been spoken and contacted to them all. I am not aware of any California stakeholder, including schools, Japanese, Chinese, or Korean associations, support this. CSOMA said that they have a bill in member Quicksilver's district, but we contacted that school. This is a lie.
30 seconds.
South Bay opposed this bill. Where's my quote? The CAB was not given opportunity to be part of this bill. This bill is premature to have a really good transparent discussion about what is best for the consumer. So let everybody take a break. The board is going to kill this bill. CalAtma and all.
All right, this is the moderator, and unfortunately, our individual has reached their time limit, so we will move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Individual identified as Ron, you will be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
This is Ron Zeidman, president of Five Branches University, and we oppose this bill. As Mr. Miller was saying, it is premature, and it's premature because the profession can definitely unite around national standards and a national exam. But doing it now is not the time. I also want to clarify to both the board and to public members who are listening that Californians are very fortunate because we can take the CALE exam and be licensed in California, and we can take the national exam and practice in other states. So we already have that freedom, we already have that privilege, so we don't need a bill to give us that privilege. The bill would only limit us rather than expand the scope that we already have. Thank you.
All right, this is a moderator. We'll move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Individual identified as Onyork. Onyork, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
I'm the board member of UAA, United Acupuncture Association, which is a member under TAOMA. And we have discussed this not since 2016. We have discussed this issue for over 24 years. And in history, it is way, way too long for the same issue with the same debate. In Constitution, it encroached our legislator and California Acupuncture Board ability to protect the public. Even I heard that the exam will not change the board, the standard of the education, but it is the content of the exam weak the standard. The national exam has all other states, many states outside California. Each state has their different standard. Some only require acupuncture. Some do not recognize herb. And it is very diversified, not like California, all in one to train and integrate acupuncturists to serve the public. So regarding the national exam, MD do not have one national exam to practice in all states. Okay, I want to correct this. And California is the third state to legalize acupuncture practice, not the first one. So I also heard the Medicare issue, income and accreditation agent. When they both involve the Medicare, their request is based on their interest. They request to be ACON approved at graduate school. They request to be NCCAOM pass student, pass trainee. Okay, they only speak for their interest, not for the whole public or the whole profession. I want to remind the board and our legislator, because the member of the board can change from time to time. The legislator can change from time to time, but the interest of the NCCAOM will not change. So they just try to get more opportunity to get in. I support the board opposition position. I support the board decision. Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator, and it looks like that was our last individual who has requested public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel at this point?
Yes, thank you, moderator.
All right, the Q&A panel is now closed.
Thank you. So I would like to say, I know this is a pretty long discussion, but I would like to continue, finish this bill before we maybe take a short break, if that's okay with everyone. I know there is a motion and there's a second already on the table. So after we hear all the public comments, and David, would you like to take a roll call, please?
I'm ready to take the vote at this time.
Thank you.
So when I call your name, please unmute and indicate whether you're voting yes, no, or abstaining. Dr. Mateki,
Yes.
Kitman Chan,
Yes.
Yongping Chen,
Yes.
John Harabedian. Oh, I apologize. Mr. Harabedian had to leave the meeting. Francisco Kim,
Yes.
Shudong Li,
Yes.
Ruben Osorio.
Yeah.
Thank you. So again, this is on the motion to oppose AB 918. I have 6 votes in favor of the motion, no votes in opposition, so the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So here is the legal Fred. Mr. Chen Yu, if you're here, or Bang, I have a question here. I
Yeah.
think this bill, the
Here.
board is already voted, but also I would like to see if how this protocol, how the process would be, if the board would like to send an updated letter to the legislature, just give them the update and follow up. So how shall we do this?
Well, the board took an opposed position, so we are definitely going to be sending the Assemblywoman the board's position with the opposition, and note the items that were discussed by the board members, as well as the sounded like the general opposition to that from our stakeholder group as well. So we would then invite them to watch the webcast to hear the stakeholders' comments directly. But we will provide the Assemblywoman the board's position with the items discussed by the board members. We don't have to do anything special outside of that.
Excellent. Thank you.
I do have
Okay.
a point of order. We are 15 minutes from 5 p.m. and we have 3 bills left to cover in this item. I don't know, Madam President, if you would like to check in with the board members to see if they want to stay a little later to complete these items, or if you would like to table the remaining items until tomorrow. I believe we can get through the remaining legislative report, and if the board would like to, or you would like to consider, we can just go ahead and read the remaining items, and if the board members have no issues with any of them, then we can take the motion at the end and the public comment at the end of the remaining 3. In working with legal counsel, Mr. Chan, you said that this would be acceptable.
Yes, I will be okay, and the rest of the board member, if you're okay, we will take Mr. Bodia's recommendation. Thank you. Let's finish.
Okay, then Christine, if you could go ahead and move to the next bill, please.
Yes, thank you. So almost there. AB 1236, introduced by Ting, the Healing Arts. It's a bill that affects healing arts licensees, and it's regarding data collection. The status on March 4th, the bill was referred to Assembly Committee on Business and Professions. Existing law requires specific boards under DCA to collect and report certain demographic information of their licensees. This bill would repeal those provisions and would instead require all boards that oversee healing arts licensees to collect at the time of electronic application for a license and license renewal, or at least biennially, specified demographic information, and to post the information on the websites that they each maintain. Effective July 1st, 2022, this bill would require each board or the DCA on its behalf to provide the information annually in aggregate form to the Office of Statewide Health Planning and Development. Staff is recommending watch on this bill. The demographic information to be collected include workforce data, gender or gender identity, race or ethnicity, educational background, and job satisfaction. Being that this bill affects all healing arts boards, DCA would likely get involved with the implementation. With the board's online system Connect up and running since September 2020, the inclusion of demographic questions would require minor programming to add to the online applications for license and renewal. The annual reporting may be facilitated by DCA as well. This is expected to be minor and absorbable and not substantially increase staff work. Having this kind of demographic information for each profession may, over time, highlight trends and provide more of an understanding of each unique licensee population. And so I will go ahead and move to the next bill, AB 1386, introduced by Cunningham. This is also concerning licensing fees related to military partners and spouses. On March 11th, this bill was referred to the Assembly Committee on Business and Professions. Existing law requires a board to expedite the licensure process for an applicant who holds a current license in another jurisdiction in the same profession or vocation and provides evidence that they are married to or in a domestic partnership or other legal union with an active duty member of the armed forces of the U.S. who is assigned to a duty station in the state under official active duty military orders. This bill would prohibit a board from charging an initial or original license fee to an applicant who meets these expedited licensing requirements. Staff recommendation is opposed to this bill. This bill is similar to AB 107 in its approach to providing more ease and convenience for military families when relocations occur for the retainment of one's career. At this time, the board has a very low volume of applicants who qualify for expedited licensure under Business and Professions Code Section 115.5. Therefore, the loss in revenue related to this legislation is expected to be minor and absorbable. However, this kind of legislation may set a precedence for other communities to seek being pardoned from their licensee fees. So that's where the concern comes in the recommendation to oppose. Senate Bill 772, our last bill to review, introduced by Ochoa Bogue, professions and vocations, citations, minor violations. The first hearing was scheduled for March 22nd, but was canceled at the request of the author, so not sure where this bill is going to go. We will definitely monitor it. This bill would prohibit the assessment of an administrative fine for a minor violation and would specify that a violation shall be considered minor if it meets specified conditions, including that the violation did not pose a serious health or safety threat and there is no evidence that the violation was willful. Staff is recommending an opposed position. The board has citation and fine authority that is already used to address more minor violations as a means of education to the licensee and bring them into compliance with the law. The majority of the causes for citations and fines meet the proposed criteria for a minor violation set by the bill. The purpose of a fine is to make the licensee more accountable in complying with any possible orders of abatement through the citation. Without the authority to fine for minor violations, there won't be as much incentive for the licensee to comply. Removing the board's fine authority for minor violations of its laws and regulations would also see a loss in revenue brought in by these fines at approximately $23,000 annually. And so if there is an agreement by the board with the staff recommendations of the positions of these last three remaining bills, then I believe a single motion could be made stating that that board supports those staff recommendations. So any questions, any comments, any motion, please do so now.
Thank you, Christine. Any board members have a comment or would like to make a motion? Please unmute your phone. Yes, Member King.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that Acupuncture Board take a watch position on AB 1236 as introduced on February 19th, 2021 for the reasons discussed by the members and staff and as reflected in the staff memo.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, this Kim Chen. I'm a second.
Thank you, Member Chen. So do we want to continue with all the bills? AB 1386, 772, SB?
It would be dependent on how we structure this motion. So at the moment, the motion on the table is regarding just one of the bills. If Member Kim wants to retract that motion, then we can put out another motion saying the board motion, or I motion that the Acupuncture Board take staff recommended positions on AB 1236, AB 1386, and SB 772. If no board members have any issues, we'll get the second and then open it up for public comment. Is there a so moved? After Mr. Kim retracts his motion, if that is okay.
So thank you, Mr. Bodia. Member Kim?
Yeah, I'll retract the motion.
Would you like to make the new motion as Mr. Bodia has mentioned?
Member Kim, you can just say so moved per Ben's motion language.
I'll move. I'll make a motion. The same language as Ben mentioned.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have a second?
Yeah, this Kim Chen. I'm second.
Thank you. So let's open up to the public and then we will do the roll call, please. Moderator, please.
All right, this is the moderator and at the direction of the board, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click that icon with a question mark within a square located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. I'll go ahead and pause a moment to allow the public time to access the Q&A panel and submit their requests.
And to clarify for the public, this is on all three of the last remaining bills, AB 1236, AB 1386, and SB 772. Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. Seeing no requests for comments, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you, moderator.
All right, the Q&A panel is now closed.
Thank you. So David, shall we do the roll call, please?
Absolutely. As I call your name, please unmute and let us know if you're going to be voting yes, no, or abstain on the motion. And the motion is to take a watch position on AB 1236, an opposed position on AB 1386, and an opposed position on SB 772. Dr. Mateki.
Yes.
Kitman Chan.
Yes.
Yongping Chen.
Yes.
Francisco Kim.
Yes.
Shudong Lee.
Yes.
And Ruben Osorio.
Yes.
Thank you. I record six votes in favor of the motion, no votes in opposition. The motion passes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
David. Thank you. So board members, I know it is 4:54 right now, and we still have a few items. Would we be okay if we continue? How would you like? If there is no opposition?
Since one of the member is not present, maybe can we push it to tomorrow?
John, already mentioned, yeah, member Herr-Binding already mentioned to continue, but I will see how, Ben, what would you like to see, and the rest of the board member, what do you think?
We are approaching the end of the regular business day. So in terms of like the consumer and professional association reports, I would advise to push that to tomorrow. And if we can cover the OA right now, but it would be best to give it its due time with a fresh mind in the morning as well. I would just ask that if we do table any, the remaining items, we do keep the future agenda items for those members of the public that cannot make it to the meeting tomorrow.
Thank you. So then, shall we just finish the regulation update here? The item 9 for today, and then we table the rest tomorrow to start.
I definitely think that that is not very controversial, and it's just a status update for the board. So certainly, if Madam President, that is your wish, we can do that. Would you like Christine to move forward? Apologies.
Okay, so I know, Christine, you've been working pretty hard the whole time. Would you like to continue with the item 9? So we will move to the agenda item 9 for the regulation update.
Definitely. It's should be pretty short.
Thank you.
So starting with our AB 2138 package, that was filed January 31st last year. It is making its way through the rulemaking process. The board did adopt modified language last year in June. And so we did, the final rulemaking package was completed, and it's with agency. And so actually we just heard back from agency during the review process. So that's where it's at, and it's moving through. It's in its final stage. SB 1441, the implementation of the uniform standards related to substance abuse and licensees, and our update of disciplinary guidelines, as well as number 3, implementation of SB 1448. That rulemaking package, we last brought modified text to the board at our last board meeting in December. And those were just to make some changes to the guidelines to align with AB 2138. Since then, we have made more movement on the rulemaking package and expect that we can send that to legal for review very soon. And so we do have an anticipated filing date of May. So we'll see how that goes. The SB 1246 align curriculum standards and approval related regulations with statutes. That rulemaking package is under staff development. However, we have identified a few amendments that we are bringing to the board tomorrow under item 22. So it's in process, but we do have some further amendments that you will be seeing tomorrow. AB 2190, that was the package that the Licensing and Exam Committee heard today, and then the board, it was referred to the board. The board this morning did make a vote on that language, on the proposed language. And so staff will begin the regulatory package in developing that. Increased board fees. That was done through a section rulemaking package, which is a more efficient or quick rulemaking process. And that is under OAL's review right now. That was actually filed December 9th. And then the application for retired status, that package, it's under staff development. Before, so the regulatory report was completed prior to making the decision that we are not bringing the retirement language back to the board. We were going to do that at this board meeting. So I apologize, that is incorrect, that statement there. But we may need to bring this package back, the language back to the board at maybe the June meeting, possibly we're reviewing some items with legal regarding AB 2138 and aligning it with that possibly. So the continuing education requirements for requiring ethics, that is being brought to the board tomorrow. We do have proposed language for the board to consider, and hopefully there's some action on that. And then also for the standards of practice for telehealth services, that is another item that we're bringing tomorrow with proposed language. The committee saw it last in December, and we just made a few more changes, and so that will be reflected and discussed tomorrow. And then following this is just the rulemaking tracking form, which is more of a visual of the rulemaking process and identifying where we at and how many steps are left in that process. So I won't go into detail on that because all of the statuses match what I just presented. So let me know if you have any questions, but that concludes the reg report.
Thank you very much, Christine. Board members, anyone have any comments? If not, and I would like to open up to the public. So moderator, would you please help? Thank you.
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the board, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click that icon with a question mark within the square located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. I'll go ahead and pause a moment to allow the public time to access the Q&A panel and submit their requests. All right, seeing none, would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, moderator, thank you.
All right, Q&A panel is now closed.
Thank you. So board members, I know it's a long day, but I know there's an item here with item 11 regarding the occupational analysis. I know some of the public member may not going to make it tomorrow, and so I would like to make bold decision. So if this is okay with members, and also if this is okay with Mr. Bodia, EO, if we discuss this item 11 today, and also maybe we will do a brief cap tomorrow, would that be okay? Or maybe legal can let us know if this is fine.
That is totally fine. Oh, perhaps Mr. Chen, you?
Madam President, so am I understanding that you like to cover part of this item today and also tomorrow?
Yes, I think today some of the public members here, and they may not going to make it tomorrow. So I would make the item 11 to discuss it and report it today, and also we can table it and do it tomorrow morning also, tomorrow.
Would the board be making a decision on this item? No? Okay, so it's just mostly for informational. Okay, I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So Mr. Bodia, so we can presume the item 11, and I think Jay is the one we will talk. So report on the commencement of the occupational analysis. Mr. Hurt, please.
Thank you, Dr. Matecki. So as it's been mentioned already, the Acupuncture Board is conducting an occupational analysis of the acupuncture profession in California. This survey was developed by several groups of licensed acupuncturists acupuncturists. And so we're inviting licensees to complete the survey to identify the skills, knowledge, and abilities required to perform the current practice of acupuncture in California. Results of the acupuncture analysis will also be used to update and improve the California acupuncture licensing exam, and participation by the licensing community will help define what is required to practice acupuncture. effectively at the time of licensure. So the board really encourages licensees to take part in this survey. And as a result, we're offering 4 hours of continuing education just to acknowledge the work that this takes to do. And I'd also like to say that this survey was developed in partnership with the Office of Professional Exam Services. They planned and held the workshops and developed the survey using California licensees as SMEs to develop the survey. So it's developed by current practicing licensed acupuncturists, and by participating, licensees add their input as well. And as it's been mentioned earlier, the OA is used to guide the creation of our what we emphasize on our tests based on what's used in current practice. Also, the occupation analysis, as was mentioned before, can be used in comparison studies, as it was done in 2016, where our occupation analysis was compared to the NCCOM job study at that time. And we created that comparison report. And so based on the discussions today, we definitely know that we'll be moving forward along that line. And what this study will do also, when the comparison comes, it can be used to identify what's really linked in the exam and where the gaps are, whether they're within the practice areas that's allowed in California or within the laws and regulations. So it's a very important thing for licensees to take part of and to really report what's really going on in the practice of acupuncture. And so we encourage you to participate. The survey will be open until May 5th, 2021, and it's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can, if you go to our homepage, right in the What's New section, there's a quick link. You can click it. It'll take you to the survey. There's also another message that'll give you some of the information I spoke about in written form, so you can digest that, right? And also in doing the survey, you don't have to do it in a single session. You can come back and forth, as long as you're using the same browser and the same computer, come back in and out of the survey. And again, even if you have problems with that, if you contact us, we can reopen it for problems that you may have had completing it. So the board really thanks you ahead of time for your participation, all of our California licensees, and we look forward to getting the results of this study. And so far, we've been getting a really great response, so I'm very encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. So do we want to open up to the public for comment?
That would be beneficial, Madam President.
Okay, sure. Let's, moderator, would you please facilitate for the public comments?
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the board, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click that Q&A icon at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. And it looks like we do have one individual who's requested a public comment. Individual identified as Mary. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak in a 30-second warning. I'm unmuting your microphone now.
Hello, thank you for the ability to speak. Jay Hurt, could you identify where on the website the link is to complete the survey, please? Because I'm looking at the website and I see renew license, verify license, apply for an exam, continuing education, board meetings, and enforcement actions, but no survey link.
If you look under the What's New section on the website there, Mary, if you go down a couple of things, the first one says Occupation Analysis 2021 Survey Information and Invitation, and then the link right below it says 4 free CEUs for completing the 2021 Occupation Analysis. If you click that one, it takes you right to the survey.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, seeing no further comments, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you, moderator. Okay, so
Madam President, this is Fred Chen, your legal counsel. Just a quick note. Also for tomorrow, since we're gonna have we're continuing on this discussion on this item tomorrow, to also have public comments also as well for tomorrow.
Great, thank you. So should we make this item like we table it and then we can open up tomorrow.
Right. So you'll be
Okay.
tabling this item to be to be completed
Discussed.
tomorrow. To be discussed for further discussion tomorrow. So this item is not, we're not moving on yet.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thank you. So this is what we'll do is table these items, and for tomorrow, this will be concluded for today. Ben, would you be okay, or you have anything, or any board members? Would you guys be okay? We stop here today.
I would ask that we provide the public for the last items on the future agenda items. The board members, if they're okay waiting until tomorrow to provide their future agenda items, but this way we provide the public access to future agenda items today that is attending today.
Okay, let's do that. Then let's just move on to the agenda item number 13.
I'm sorry, this is Yongping Chen.
Oh,
I
sorry.
raised my hand, probably was not, so I understand the reason you open this item 11 last minute and cover tomorrow as well, because the public member will separately join tomorrow and today. So I would like to hear some comments from the public member about this agenda. Is it okay?
Yes, we open up to the public today, and we will do that tomorrow also. Open up
No,
to the
I mean
public
to
tomorrow.
the board member, to the public board member.
Yes.
Sorry, just
You
point
mean
of
today
clarification.
for the board member?
Yeah, any public board member want to make comments now? I mean, before, so you said tomorrow they will not come, right?
No, you can talk.
Not me, I'm not a public member.
So you're talking about public board members, or are you talking about public members?
Public board members.
Okay, so I think all of our board members are going to be in attendance tomorrow. I don't know of anybody saying they can't.
I think that there if I understand correctly, just an opportunity for any board member to provide any comment on this item before this item is tabled for tomorrow. Am I correct?
Sure. If that's the question, Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's on the occupational analysis, correct? Or on future agenda?
Yes.
Occupational analysis.
Occupational analysis, yeah.
I thought so just for the board members, please. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yes. For the board members, would like to have a comment on this item 11?
I just have some simple comments because I have finished this. This is Yongping Chen. Sorry, I have finished this OA, and I think it's very well designed. It's a lot of work for the board staff, Jay, Mr. Jay, and the other 7 groups of licensed acupuncturists. Thanks for your contribution. It's a lot of work, a lot of, I think I spent several hours. Of course, I read the material, and I also read some other material. So I have one question to ask. Is there a big difference or similar of this OA compared with 2016, 5 years ago? I don't get information from just this analysis.
I never got to see the 2015 occupational analysis. That was prior to me assuming responsibility of those board matters. And Jay, did you take that occupational analysis? It's always been done through the Office of Professional Examinations. We have an excellent team there that helps us with the exam development and also with this. And in terms of how it compares to the 2015, we do have the 2015 occupational analysis results. I'm not quite sure if they were posted on our website for some time. I thought they are still on.
I actually, Ben Jay speaking. I did actually complete the 2015-16 occupation analysis. Again, it's many, many months ago. I hate to say it, but I think this one is really well prepared, and I really like the final product that we got on this one. But I think one of the big flaws with the last one is we just didn't have very much participation. So I think it was under 20% of people responded.
Far under, yeah. And actually, I can confirm that both the 2015 and the 2008 occupational analyses are posted on our website under the Forms and Publications tab. Under the Other Publications and Reports, you'll see it just under our strategic plan, which is also just under our sunset review reports from 2004 and on. So we do have this available. In terms of this strategic plan, this occupational analysis, we won't have the results until end of summer.
Thank you for your answer.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Okay, so any other board member have a questions or comments? No? Okay, so now would like to move on to the future agenda items, which is number 13. So board members, what would you like to see as a future agenda? Please unmute your phone.
And board members, you will have the opportunity tomorrow as well to provide future agenda items, but you are being asked now as well.
I don't hear anything, so shall we open up to the public? So board members, if you guys are okay, we will open up to the public to address as a future item. Okay, so moderator, would you please help the public to make comments?
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the board, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click that icon with a question mark within a square located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. I'll go ahead and pause a moment to allow the public time to access the Q&A panel and submit their requests. All right, seeing none, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Right.
So then we will have item 11 for tomorrow morning, continued discussion, and item 12, Consumer and Profession Association report for tomorrow. I will conclude it for today, adjourn for the day one of our acupuncture board meeting. Want to thank everyone, the public, the stakeholders for your participation in today's meeting. And also want a special thanks to the DCA moderator and IT team for all your assistance. And thanks to our EO and the staff, board members for all your dedicated and support hard work on this. So look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow at 9:30. So the meeting adjourned at 5:19 today. Thank you.